It's okay. Now the dark blue. Okay. Well, today's actually I think it's the disappearance day of Srila Jayadev Goswami. So, I was trying to think some songs by him, but I think the only song we have is the Dasavatar, right?
No, there's also, well, it's some Shita Kamala.
Okay, right. Srila Charja Maharaj likes to sing that sometimes.
They always sing it in Golgadhar temple. I think it's
Well, anyhow.
He was very early, right? Was it like 10th century? Way back?
Yes, a long time. Yeah, maybe something like that, yeah. I'm not sure. But Mahaprabhu relished his poetry, so much, and it's mentioned in several places, how, especially in those last years when Mahaprabhu was in the mood of Srimati Radharani, the mood of separation, from Krishna. Then Jayadev Goswami's Gita Govinda, that was one of the main texts. Chandidas, Vidyapati, Rayer, Nataka Giti, Karnamrita, Gita Govinda. These are the Gita Govinda of Jayadev Goswami and the Krishna Karnamrita of Bilvamangal Thakur, the poetry of Chandidas, the writing of the nataks, the dramas of Ramananda Rai. These were some of the main. And of course, these are all very high things, we don't read them. The Gita Govinda, we don't read that. But Mahaprabhu, he appreciated that. And he also gave us the Dasavatar. Jai, which is going through, 10 principal avatars, and also establishing Krishna as supreme. So, what was Mahaprabhu's conception and the conception of Srimad Bhagavatam, that was, also, given by Jayadev Goswami. He was also, following that line, we can say. And we haven't heard so much about him. There are a few stories, one or two stories Param Guru Maharaj told. Also, there's some history in the Navadip Dham Mahatmya. I don't recall, but exactly, but I believe he was originally from Bengal. He was from that Champahati area, right? Those deities were they were the deities of Vaninath, right? Mahaprabhu's associate. They were not. No, of course, the Gaur Gadadhar is after Jayadev Goswami. But in that same area, maybe the exact place, I believe where that temple is now, that Gaur Gadadhar temple, I believe in that exact location, that's where Jayadev Goswami lived. And then he received later, he lived there with his wife, Padma, and then at some point later he received some inspiration, some type of instruction from the Lord, and he went to Puri, and then he lived there for the rest of his days. And the most famous story that we've heard Param Guru Maharaj tell about him is when he was in the middle of writing this Gita Govinda, which is describing, as we said, very high topics, the Leela between Radha, Krishna, and Vrindavan, and the Braja Gopis, which is why we don't read it. But at a certain point in describing some type of exchange between Ch.Ch, Radha, and Krishna, he came to a certain point where he was inspired to write that Krishna was saying to Srimati Radharani, I want to take your foot dust, I want to purify myself with your foot dust. That Krishna, he had this, in the course of this exchange, he had the inspiration to write this as Krishna's expression, that I want to take your foot dust to Radharani. And so he was writing, and he came to this point, and he had an inspiration, but then he thought, this is too much, how is this possible that Krishna, he is the Supreme Lord, he will go to take the foot dust of his devotee, and how can I be so audacious as to say something like this? This is too much. And so then he thought, I better take a break, set this aside, And I don't remember if it was the same day or the next day, but then he went to take his morning, I think it was the same day, he went to take his noontime bath, like late morning bath in the river nearby. And then what happened, Krishna himself appeared in the form of Jayadev. And so he, soon after Jayadev Goswami had left, then Krishna came there in this form of Jayadev, and his wife Padma was very surprised, you just left, you're coming back so quickly. And then it was, he was coming back for lunch. So she quickly finished everything and offered, and she gave to him, and Krishna took some of that prasadam that she offered, and then he went to that manuscript, and he wrote there. And then he left, as if to take rest. And then after that, then Jayadev Goswami returned, and he saw that his wife was sitting and taking prasadam. And normally in the Vedic culture, the wife, she will first give to her husband will eat, and then what's left, she'll take that. That's the tradition. So Jayadev Goswami was very surprised. He entered and saw his wife was sitting and eating. He was puzzled, what happened? And she said, well, what's going on? You already, now you're arriving, but you already came back and you already ate, and now I'm eating here. And he was like, what happened? And then he was thinking, and she said, yeah, you came in and don't you remember, you took prasadam, and then you went and you wrote something in your manuscript, and then you went to take rest. And he said, oh really? And then he went to look at the manuscript, and he saw that this line, Dehi pada palavam budadam, please give me your foot dust, for my own upliftment, for my own purification. And he was astonished, and Krishna himself came, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, it's on the website, I listened to it last night. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that then Jayadev, he looked at the prasadam. This is Krishna's prasadam. And he madly went and started taking that prasadam. You told her, you were so fortunate, Krishna himself, he accepted your prasadam, and now you're taking his remnants. And I think he said he began snatching that himself. So, it is such a wonderful thing that the Lord himself, he is, he puts himself, under his devotee, as it is he likes to be, controlled by the love. He likes to his devotee to be in a superior position to his own self. This is the power of sharanagati, of surrender and pure devotion. Jai Mahamancha Prabhu. We were just telling the pastime of Jayadev Goswami. Today is his disappearance day. And Param Guru Maharaj, he also referred to this verse of when when Durvasa Muni came running to Lord Narayan, the Sudarshan Chakra is chasing me because of his offense to Ambarish, then there's some beautiful verses there. Durvasa Muni came for shelter to Narayan, and Narayan's like, I can't do anything here, And there are many beautiful verses there. Many of them are recorded in Prapana Jivanamrita that Lord Narayan spoke at that time. But the most famous, Aham Bhakta Paradino Hyasvatancha Eva Dvija Sarubir Grasta Hridayo Bhakter Bhakta Janapriya. You know that verse, right? Okay. You know that verse. Okay, well, it's a good one to learn. And I am bound by the love of my devotees. They have captured my heart. It is as if it's Eva Dvija, like it's opposing. It is as if I have no independence. Obviously, He is the Supreme Absolute, He is the source of all. He is, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the origin of all. He is the cause of all causes. But He likes to take this posing, in submission to the love of His devotees, that He is controlled by them, He is bound by them. So even to this extent, to this extreme, that He's praying for the foot dust of his own devotee. So this, wonderful pastime we've heard with Srila Jayadev Goswami. So today is his holy disappearance day. And his wife, Padma, she was also a great devotee and very perfect and chaste wife. We heard from Devashish Prabhu one story about her, that he said he heard from Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that because Jayadev, he became the court poet, or the kings would have different persons like that, like the court jester, right? And the pandit and different ministers. So Jayadev, he had some special position. I don't remember if this was in Puri or in Bengal, but he had some appointment like this with the king, some special position, and so his wife was also, maybe they even lived in the palace. I'm not sure, but so his wife, she had some position there also, and she had a friendship with the queen. And one day, the queen and Padma, they were having some discussion, and how did it start exactly? It was regarding if a chaste woman's husband dies, then what will be the appropriate, response and way to, for her to deal with this, And Padma, she made this comment that actually a truly chaste wife, if her husband dies, then she will immediately die. Immediately. She will just leave her body immediately, because she cannot contemplate living in the world without her husband, And the queen, she wasn't so sure about that, She didn't really believe that. And so then some days later, she thought she was going to test this out. And so one day she was with Padma, and she came to her, somehow, and told her, "Oh no, we've just received this terrible news that your husband has died. Jayadev has died." Very bad joke. But Padma, really, she was such a chaste lady that she actually left her body,
On the spot.
Yes, like that. And so the queen was... I don't know, maybe. And so, of course, the queen, she was completely beside herself, What am I going to do? And anyhow, I don't remember the details exactly, but I think Jayadev Goswami was called, and he was able to revive her in some way, like that. So she was also very great. Did you hear this story also?
Yeah, last when I went to Queen Street, you told me that story. I think it started because they were talking about sati.
Okay.
That, you know, the wife goes into the
right,
fire.
Right.
I would say, like, that's not necessary.
Uh-huh.
A truly chaste wife will
She'll just leave her body. Yes. I was remembering something like that too, but I wasn't 100% sure. But yeah, that must be it, yeah. And then do you remember how it ended exactly?
Well, he said that Jayadev Goswami came and he said some mantra to his wife.
Okay.
And
then she
was... Jayadev Prabhuji was like, I'm here, come back. Like something like that.
But you know, mostly we remember Jayadev Goswami in connection with Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu loved his poetry so much and gave so much, you know, like nourishment and sustenance when he was in that pain of separation. And especially with Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar, they would, you know, Swarup Damodar had a very sweet voice, and he would, you know, sing these verses to him. Okay. Jai Srila Jayadev Goswami ki Jai. So we can read a little from Chaitanya Charitamrita, just a little, as we have our Saturday program. And then Dasa Vrindavanam Vande Krishna Dasa Prabhum Tata Janavatar Chaitanya Leela Vistar Karino Go Nityananda Prabja Karunarena Bhushito Vyakta Chano Burachincho Vavande Vyasarupino Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govindascha Ganaisaha Jayanti Patakascha Sarvesham Gurunartino. So Mahaprabhu, as we heard in the previous chapter, he just returned from South India to Puri and had, you know, very wonderful, loving exchanges, ecstatic exchanges with the devotees there. And everyone's very happy to have him back. So we'll read a few verses. Starting chapter 10, the Madhya Lila. The Lord's return to Jagannath Puri. Tam vande gorajala dam swasvayo darshanam ritai vicheda vagraha mlana bhakta shasyan yaji vayat. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is compared to a cloud that pours water on fields of grain, which are like devotees suffering due to a shortage of rain. Separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like a drought, but when the Lord returns, his presence is like a nectarian rain that falls on all the grains and saves them from perishing. So, you know, as we mentioned the other day, you know, Mahaprabhu was gone for like 2 years or something, traveling in South India. And so the devotees have really been suffering in his separation. So when he comes back, it is, you know, as it's being described here, it's like they were, you know, like some type of famine. And now they're getting sustenance. Just going to read that one more time. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is compared to a cloud that pours water on fields of grain, which are like devotees suffering due to a shortage of rain. Separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like a drought, but when the Lord returns, his presence is like a nectarian rain that falls on all the grains and saves them from perishing. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Purva Jabe Mahaprabhu Cholila Dakine Prataparujya Raja Tobe Bolailo Sarvabhome. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed for South India, King Prataparudra called Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to his palace.
Bosite asana dilo kori namaskare, Mahaprabhur varta tobe puchilo tahare.
When Sarvabhauma met with the king offered him a seat with all respects. And you can guess why he called him, inquired about news of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we said the other day, the king is very intelligent. He knows if he really wants Mahaprabhu's mercy, he has to go through his devotees. It's his only hope. So he's always trying to do something for his devotees, or trying to get their association, hearing from them, and praying for the Lord's mercy through them.
Shunilao tomar gore ek mahashoy, gora hoite aila teho mahakripa moy.
The king said to the Bhattacharya, I have heard that a great personality has come from Bengal and is staying at your home. I have also heard that he is very, very merciful. Maha kripa moy.
Tomare bahu kripa koila kohe sarvajan, kripa kori koroho more taha darsham.
I have also heard that this great personality has shown you great favor. At any rate, this is what I hear from many different people. Now, being merciful upon me, you should do me the favor of arranging an interview. So he's given you so much mercy. Now you please be merciful to me, so that I can also get his mercy.
Bhat kohe je shunila sob satya hoy, tar darshan tomar gata na hoy.
The Bhattacharya replied, all that you have heard is true, but as far as an interview is concerned, it is very difficult to arrange.
Virakta sannyasi te ho rohe nirjane, swapne ha na korinte ho rajada shane.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the renounced order and is very much detached from worldly affairs. He stays in solitary places, and even in dreams, he does not grant interviews to a king. Even in his dreams, he will not meet with the king. There's no hope. I'm sorry.
Tatapi prakare toma koraitam darashan, samprati korila teho dakin gamam.
Still, I would have tried to arrange your interview, but he has recently left to tour South India. This is very nice, this exchange. So he went, I would have tried, but he's actually just left. So this is kind of backtracking a little bit when Mahaprabhu is still in South India.
Raja kohe Jagannachari kene gela bhatta kohe mahantere kalila.
The king asked, why has he left Jagannath Puri? The Bhattacharya replied, such are the pastimes of a great personality.
Tirtha pavitra korite kore tirtha brahmam, se chole nishtaroye samsari kajam.
Great saints go to holy places of pilgrimage in order to purify them. So normally persons go to holy places for their own purification, but the great saints, they go to purify the places of pilgrimage, because people go, they unload their sins, and they're contaminated. So then the great saints, they go and they clean that up. We hear the Ganga, when she was being appealed to by, what was his name, that king who was praying to her to come? I can't remember. But she was very hesitant about coming to earth, because before she was only in the higher sphere, higher planes. But this king wanted him to come to deliver his ancestors. But she was concerned, and one of her concerns was that so many sinful people will come there and contaminate her waters. And so he reassured her, but the saints, they will come and they will purify, And then she agreed. So Mahaprabhu is going to these holy places to purify them and to deliver the people. Great saints go to holy places of pilgrimage in order to purify them. For that reason, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is visiting many tirthas and delivering many, many conditioned souls. And Samsarika Jan, this is a new, I haven't heard this before. Samsarika Jan, because we hear samsar, right? So Samsarika Jan, persons who are in samsara. This is a very good, very helpful expression. We are Samsarika Jan, or I am Samsarika Jan. Now this verse is very famous. This was spoken by Yudhisthira Maharaj to his uncle Vidur. When Vidur, he went on a long pilgrimage, and then when he returned, Yudhisthira was ruling at that time. Then Yudhisthira Maharaj, he commented like, actually you don't need to go on pilgrimage, The only reason people like you go on pilgrimage is to purify those places. You are such a great soul, You're going on pilgrimage is not like other people going. It's a different thing. You are more holy than those holy places. Bhavad vidha bhagavatas tirti bhutta swayam vibho. And this verse is so beautiful. Gurudev, he quoted this many times. It's very nice. Nice verse to learn also. Bhavad vidha bhagavatas tirti bhutta swayam vibho. Tirti kurvanti tirtani. You can make tirtas, you can make holy places. Tirti kurvanti tirtani. Swanta stena kadabrata. Because the Lord, He is living in your heart. Saints of your caliber are themselves places of pilgrimage. You are a tirtha. Because of their purity, they are constant companions of the Lord. And therefore they can purify even the places of pilgrimage. Vaishnaver hoy ek swabhav nishchal, teho jiva nahin han swatantra ishvar. A Vaishnav travels to places of pilgrimage to purify them and reclaim fallen conditioned souls. This is one of the duties of a Vaishnava. And this is Srila Swami Maharaj's expanded translation. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not a living entity, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Consequently, He is a fully independent controller. Yet in His position as a devotee, He carries out the activities of a devotee. Rajakohe tare tumi jaite kene dile, pai podi jatna kodi kene nara kile. I like this very much. Upon hearing this, the king replied, "Why did you allow him to leave? Why didn't you fall at his lotus feet and keep him here?" It's very sweet, The king, obviously he's just like overwhelmed with love for Mahaprabhu. So he's asking these very, very simple questions. So why did he leave? And then why did you let him leave? Why did you just tie him up? And how is this possible? You could let him go. He's not thinking rationally here. Obviously if someone wants to go, then they go, But he's like, well, why did you let him go? How is this possible? Why did you allow him to leave? It's like a child, right? Mommy, why are you going? Mommy, you have to stay here with me. You can't go. Why didn't you fall at his lotus feet and keep him here? Bhattacharya kohete ho swayam ishwar swatantra. Sakshat Shri Krishna teho nahe paratantra. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself and is completely independent. Being Lord Krishna Himself, He is not dependent on anyone. Tatapira kite tare bahujatna koilu, Ishwarer swatantra icha rakite nadilo. Still, I endeavored very hard to keep him here. But because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and completely independent, I was not successful.
Rajakohe bata tumi vigya shiromani.
And I mean, they do try, you know, like later when Mahaprabhu is trying to go to Vrindavan, they keep giving him excuses. It goes on for like 2 years, you know. They keep giving him, oh, now the Rath Yatra is coming, and better you go after Rath Yatra. Oh, but now it's you know, this festival, or now it's this season. They keep like delaying his, and it goes on for like 2 years or something. And then finally Mahaprabhu's like, you know, I have to go. Like, that's it. Stop playing your tricks on me. So it's true. They definitely do try their best to keep him. And sometimes he's reciprocating with that, you know. And he's also very, very like diplomatic. Because he doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, so he doesn't take anyone of his like close followers with him. But he also says like it's too intense. Like all of his devotees who love him so much, you know, it's like too intense for him, you know. Like he mentions, it's very like humorous exchange, or he's like mentions Jagadananda. He's always trying to make me live comfortably, and you know, give me comfortable mattresses to sleep on, and Damodar is always trying to correct my behavior, and this Vaishnava's doing this, and this Vaishnava, I don't remember all of them, but like it's like too intense, you know. So he wants someone kind of neutral, so they choose this Balabhadra, right? Who doesn't have like too much love, you know, too much for the Lord, because it's too intense. Okay, so Sarvabhauma says, I did try, but he's the independent Supreme Lord.
Rajakohe bata tumi vigya shiromani tumi tare Krishna kaha tate satyamani.
The king said, Bhattacharya, you are the most learned and experienced person I know. Therefore, when you address Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Lord Krishna, I accept this as the truth. And this was significant because Sarvabhauma, he was like the top pundit in the whole of Puri. So whatever he said, and he was previously a Mayavadi, right? So the fact that he's speaking of, you know, accepting Mahaprabhu and worshipping him as the Supreme Lord, people are really going to pay attention to that. You know, he was the court pundit. He was the top scholar. So it was very significant and it was very like important in Mahaprabhu's Leela that he, you know, converted him. And Gurudev mentioned how these verses, after Mahaprabhu converted him, this word converted, I really don't like this word. You can say after Mahaprabhu captured his heart, you know. What's that? Convinced. But because the thing is, conversion, convincing, it suggests like it's something else that you're like imposing on someone, right? But actually it's the natural wealth of every soul. So that's why. And also, it's true, maybe convincing is a little better, because the conversion also, that's kind of associated with like the Christians, like, you know, and they're like conversion by the sword, right? So
well, the Muslims that convert the Hindus by contaminating.
Right. So there's also maybe convincing is better.
It's more gentle.
More gentle.
Mental process.
What's that?
It's a mental process. Right.
Because there's that connotation like the physical force. I'm going to convert you. Then Sarvabhauma wrote these, it's 100 verses, I think, that he wrote in glorification of Mahaprabhu. And they became very famous and you know, very dear to the devotees. Gurudev, he made some comment how it's not that the poetry was like the top poetry, you know, like compared to, for example, Srila Rupa Goswami, right? But because of Sarvabhauma's position, then they became like so well known and so dear to the devotees. So it was very significant that Sarvabhauma, you know, he came to accept Mahaprabhu in this way. And the king, he's immediately saying, you know, first the king's saying, one Mahashai, he's thinking of Mahaprabhu in that way, as a great soul, like some great saint. But Sarvabhauma is speaking of him as the Supreme Lord. And the king immediately, oh, well, you're the most learned person I know. If you're saying he's the Supreme Lord, I'm accepting that, you know. So it was very significant. I mean, you can see some strategy there, right? You know, as soon as he gets to Puri, the first person, right? The first person that he meets and convinces, you know, is Sarvabhauma. There's some strategy here. It's like the Srila Sridhar Maharaj speaks of Napoleon strategy. Like Srila Saraswati Thakur also employed. You know, you break the strongest point and everything else follows. So he's the top scholar, he's a propounder of Shankaracharya's philosophy, and he's like the top, like the hard nut to crack, you know. But he's the first one, you know, that Mahaprabhu meets.
I heard once from Jayadev Maharaj also that like when Nityananda Prabhu broke his danda, like as to show many of the reasons that you were explaining the other day, like people should not see you as a young sannyasi, all these things, but also like there was a hidden meaning that like because of that Mahaprabhu was going to get angry and go further alone.
Right.
Like that particular meeting.
Yes.
Otherwise that would not have happened.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
So it was the will of the Lord that he wanted to convince Sarvabhauma as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, the whole arrangement was so beautiful, you know. He got there to the temple like alone, and then that service opportunity was there for Sarvabhauma. You know, he was alone, mad in ecstasy, and then the what are they called? The pandas. They're thinking, who's this like mad person here? And they're ready to beat him. But Sarvabhauma happens to be there at that moment. And he can recognize, it's an extraordinary thing, even though he's a Mayavadi, he can recognize the symptoms of prema. And so he can recognize, this isn't some crazy guy, this is something genuine. So he goes and you know, like rescues Mahaprabhu, takes him to his home, and he automatically develops this type of paternal affection for him. So he's doing seva, you know. So yeah, it's all like very, you know, everything's very perfectly arranged. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice point, because if Mahaprabhu had been with the others, with Nityananda Prabhu and the others, and there wouldn't have been the need for that, but he was like in this vulnerable state, you know. Just gave this opportunity to Sarvabhauma. The pastime with Sarvabhauma, it's so wonderful, it's so beautiful. So many wonderful things in that pastime. Well, maybe it's a good place to stop now. It's almost 8 and everyone has a lot of seva this morning. I'll just read this one more verse. Punarapi hatar hoile agaman ekabar deki kori safal noyam. When Mahaprabhu, this is the king still speaking, when Mahaprabhu returns, I wish to see him just once in order to make my eyes perfect. This will be the fulfillment of vision. You know? What else should our eyes be used for? There's also a very beautiful and also well-known verse in the Bhagavatam, you know, what is the purpose of eyes, you know, but to see the Vaishnava, you know, touch, but to touch the Vaishnava, and how does it go? But like that, like saying, what is the purpose of our senses and all our faculties, but to reciprocate with the Vaishnava like that. And Mahaprabhu, he quotes that when he meets with Sanatana Goswami, when Sanatana Goswami, he's a fugitive, right? He's escaped from prison, and he arrived. That is also, Chaitanya Charitamrita is just like too much sometimes, you know. It's like so much nectar, you know, for lack of a better word. You know, Sanatan, he's like escaping from the government and the prison, and he arrives on the doorstep of, I think it's Chandrasekhar, maybe Tapan Mishra. I always get it mixed up, but let's say Chandrasekhar Acharya. And he's feeling shy to go inside. Rupa and Sanatan, they're always very, very humble in their mood and behavior. So Sanatan's feeling very shy. I mean, also partly we can think just because he's very dirty, and he has like a long beard, and he looks like a Muslim actually. And but so he just sits there, and then Mahaprabhu, of course, he can sense, and he tells to Chandrasekhar, can you see if there's a Vaishnava at the door? And then Chandrasekhar goes out, and he sees, like, it looks like a Muslim. They call it fakir. What is a fakir exactly? Do you know?
Like a yogi.
Something like that. Right, it's like a sadhu, a Muslim sadhu. He looks like that, you know. And no, there's no Vaishnava. He goes back. There's no Vaishnava at the door. Mahaprabhu says, well, is there anyone at the door? Yeah, there's this, Muslim fakir there, We'll bring him in. And so he's very surprised. He goes and brings him in. And then Mahaprabhu immediately goes to embrace him. And Sanatan's feeling so shy, like he's so dirty. And, I mean, he's been traveling so many days, without properly bathing or eating. And so Sanatan's like, don't touch me, I'm very dirty. And then Mahaprabhu quotes this beautiful verse. I don't remember the Sanskrit, but there's also a Bengali. Toma deki, toma sparshi, that's it. Toma deki, toma sparshi, gai tomar gun. To see you, to touch you, to chant your glories. This is the real purpose, of all of our senses. And he also says, I want to purify, you can purify, the three worlds, I want to be purified by your touch. You're not dirty, you can purify. So here also we have some parallel with Srila Jayadev Goswami's expression, that of Krishna's expression, that I want to take the foot dust of my devotee. So here also Mahaprabhu, same mood, I want to purify myself, the touch of my devotee. This is the feeling of the Lord. So high, so loving. All right. Well, any last comment from anyone? Should we finish? All right. Oh, Mahamantrahu will sing.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Yadavaya Madhavaya Vishakha Namah Gopal Govinda Ram Madhusudana Hari Gopinath
Samahita Vishnamanandana ki jai, Samahita Gauravantavinda ki jai, Dasi Vishakha ki jai, Nitai Gauravanande.
Hari Bol.
Do you know how to turn it off, Prabhu?
I think so, yeah.